All right, number five is definitely an iconic actor. Has done so many big movies back in even the 30s, 40s, 50s period, and that is John Wayne. It's funny, I wasn't a big John Wayne fan growing up, and I wasn't a big Western fan. It really isn't only till recently that I've really started to really like John Wayne as an actor. Obviously, he's one of the most famous actors of all time. He's made so many movies, and it's funny. He's a very good actor, and but he wasn't like a actor who studied method acting or went through acting school. He was just a naturally good actor, and he had such a good look because he was a big guy. He's tough looking, so he played kind of this similar character all the time, but it worked so well because he's good at playing the tough hero, and he's such good at the heroic character who's not always morally good all the time, but yeah, I always enjoy a good John Wayne movie. The Searchers, my favorite John Wayne movie. So dramatic. There's this moment where he has to bury his niece or something like that, and the guy goes, what did you find there? And he can't tell him, and he says, what? You want me to paint you a picture? Never ask me again. It's one of the most dramatic moments that makes me like almost tear up when I see it. How good John Wayne is in that role. Great performance there. Of course, True Grit. He wins his Oscar in 1969 for playing that character. McClintock is more of a comedic kind of role that I really enjoy. The Quiet Man is one of the best like romantic comedies set in Ireland. I love the setting, and it's a great movie because it's not a western. It's just a kind of more romantic comedy, very funny, and one of his best performances in my opinion. I love The Quiet Man. The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, another great one where he gets a lot of his great lines of Pilgrim. He says Pilgrim a lot on that movie. And again, so great playing tough guy. But there's so many great westerns. I mean, Red River, Rio Bravo, Fort Apache. I mean, I don't know. He's just made so many great westerns. I had to put him on the list. And some of my favorite movies, like I mentioned already. So there you got John Wayne at number 5. Number 4, we got Henry Fonda. Henry Fonda, one of the great dramatic actors of all time. He is an actor's actor, where you really feel every performance that he does, and even starting back in the 1930s where he started, and but really got big for me probably in the 50s. I mean, Mr. Roberts, he played the lead character in that. I love that movie, and it does have some comedy, though most of it's not Mr. Henry Fonda, though he plays with it pretty well as well. Crazy he didn't get nominated for Best Actor. He puts in such an amazing performance there. Love that. Um, uh, well, you talk about finally he won the Oscar for On Golden Pond, where he's like in his maybe 80 years old, and he wins his Oscar again playing a character. Actually, that's actually kind of funny at times, but again, a very dramatic character who's dealing with aging and having a problem with that, I guess you can say. But yeah, what amazing performance! So glad he finally won his Oscar for that role as well. And there's stuff like Oxbow Incident, which you might never heard of. Really good movie, great performance there in the 40s period. Of course, Grapes of Wrath. He got nominated for Best Actor as well, and a really good performance there. Classic literary tale. But yeah, he's just one of those actors. 12 Angry Men. I mean, come on, 12 Angry Men. One of my favorite movies of all time. So good as the juror, it kind of turns everybody around. I don't know, something about Henry Fonda. I just love his acting style, and he plays really good kind of sympathetic main characters that you like really can get on board with. He has done his fair comedies as well here and there, and does fine in those. So I do love his more very serious dramatic work. And yeah, he's just one of those guys. Every time I see him in a movie, I just go, man, that guy is so good. And yeah, so I got Henry Fonda here, number 4 on my list. Number 3, we have Jack Lemmon. Probably the funniest actor of all time. And he's made some dramatic work, but as a comedic actor, I don't think he's going to be funnier than Jack Lemmon. And again, I've been a big fan of his since I watched Mr. Roberts as a kid. I grew up watching Mr. Roberts, and he won his Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. And it's only second movie he ever made in 1955. That's how funny. And I would say the funniest performance, I think, in any movie is Mr. Roberts. If you haven't seen Mr. Roberts, you can tell I love that movie. Definitely watch that movie. It is so funny, and yet has actually some dramatic moments as well that are so good, and some great acting. I mean, the actors are just fantastic in that movie. Jack Lemmon is definitely the highlight of the whole movie. Like I said, he won the Oscar. He is hilarious in several scenes, and as kind of the Ensign Pulver, who is afraid of the captain, who talks tough, but he's actually kind of a coward and thinks himself as a ladies' man, but strikes out on the ladies. So many great moments in that movie, but that's just one movie. Something Like It Hot, one of the funniest performances of all time, where he's acting like a girl throughout the whole movie. Just one of the great comedic performances again, and one got nominated for an Oscar just for being really, really funny as well in that one. The Odd Couple, a great comedy. Him and Walter Matthau, one of the great comedy duos of all time. Another really funny performance by him as is he Felix Unger, I think. I forget if that's the name. I think it's Felix Unger. As a very neurotic, very has to keep everything organized and clean. I like that character, and the way he butts head with Walter Matthau, absolutely hilarious. The Fortune Cookie, another movie you might not know, is another really funny movie with Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau together. Of course, they did the Grumpy Old Men movies and some other stuff, but really great combination with those two. Again, he done like Days of Wine and Roses, Save the Tiger. He won his Oscar for. Good dramatic performances, but I do prefer his more comedic performances personally, are some of my favorite movies. The Out of Towners, another absolutely hilarious performance. Very neurotic, trying to travel and everything goes wrong, and he's just going crazy the whole movie. There's just so many great comedic moments in all these movies that Jack Lemmon's one of those guys that anytime he's on screen, I can't keep my eyes off him. That's why I had to put him so high, because I remember when I see him in a movie and I go, even if the movie's not that good, I go, Jack Lemmon is so funny, even if I don't like the movie. So yeah, Jack Lemmon here, number 3. So we're really high on my list. Number 2, we got the great Jimmy Stewart. Yeah, huge fan of his performances. He's another guy who's really good at playing very likable main characters that you can get on board with, who can be funny, can be dramatic. I don't know, there's something about him that I always enjoy. And he's made some of my favorite movies of all time, of course. It's a Wonderful Life, my second favorite movie of all time. A Christmas classic, as you know. I definitely watch that movie every year. And that's one of the greatest performances. It's crazy he doesn't win an Oscar for that performance, because there's a romantic comedy aspect to it that's really great. There's some very dramatic moments where he thinks about killing himself, and then he sees what his life like without him, and he's going kind of crazy. There's some great moments where the camera's stuck on his face, and you just see every emotion in his face. And there's some great comedic moments as well. And then that ending when he's so happy to have his life back. Man, you just feel so much for that character, and that's Jimmy Stewart. He does so well with those type of characters. I mean, you look at Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, another amazing performance. Really, the performance that really put him on the map. His first Oscar nomination for Best Actor, and him going up against the corrupt government and trying to fight for what's right, and being kind of a naive small town guy, working against something bigger than himself. Another great character, and he gives another great performance where he's so likable. You just love him. He's so nice and so kind and so genuine. It's just a genuine character anyway. So yeah, definitely another Philadelphia Story won his Oscar for. Again, won his Oscar for basically playing just a comedic character. He gets drunk one time. That's kind of the funniest scene when he's drunk, and I think he won because of that. But yeah, another great performance there. Shop Around the Corner, another really good romantic comedy from him. Harvey, again, yeah, it does make some really good comedies. I feel like maybe he's more known for the comedies than even dramatic work. But yeah, overall, I mean, then you go to the Hitchcock period. We did Vertigo, Rear Window. It's probably my favorite of those Hitchcock movies that he did. Very intense performance as well. And that, yeah, he's just one of those actors, just every time I see him on screen, I just can't keep my eyes off him. He's just so captivating as an actor, I guess, for me. and plays some of the great likable characters of all time. So I had to put him here at number 2, Jimmy Stewart. So it gets to number 1, who's my favorite actor of all time, and that is Tom Hanks. A more current actor, but I grew up watching him since the 90s when I really started watching movies, and he blew up in the 90s. He was, coming big in the 80s, I would say, more as a, I feel like he started off more as a comedic actor, and then in the 90s, he really flipped that switch and was one of the best dramatic actors we've ever seen. And as a guy, you can kind of go between, I guess, comedic and drama, but man, he's put some of the most amazing performances I've ever seen, including Forrest Gump, my favorite movie of his, and in my opinion, the greatest performance of all time, Forrest Gump. Again, very comedic at times, but then he has those moments where, Bubba dies in his arms, and I'm spoiling the movie, but Jenny dies, and he's at the gravesite. That is one of the greatest. I cry every time I watch those scenes because of his performance is so good in there, and it changes throughout the whole movie. Of course, he won for Philadelphia as well. I really love A League of Their Own. I think that's a really great movie. Really great performance. Apollo 13. I love Apollo 13. A top 10 movie. Crazy he didn't get nominated for that. He gave such a great performance there as well. Of course, Saving Private Ryan. Nominated for that as well. Even That Thing You Do is a guy funny. He directed that movie and does a really good job there. I mean, Band of Brothers. He doesn't act in those movies, but what a great directing in those. Then Road to Perdition I think is great. Castaway, another amazing performance where he really changed his look. Lost weight, gained weight, and you really felt when he lost. He lost his volleyball friend, Wilson. Man, that's like a very teary. It's just a volleyball, but yet you almost tear up because he feels really close to this volleyball because he's with this volleyball for a long time on this island. And Wilson, and you're like, oh my gosh, like how can I get emotional about volleyball? But that's how good Tom Hanks is in that movie. Here I'm just naming movies. He's just so good. I have to mention Captain Phillips. It's crazy he didn't get nominated for that performance. Should have won for that performance. The scene at the end when he's freaked out because he's been kidnapped the whole movie, and then they are, evaluating him medically, and he's just, freaked out because of everything that's happened to him, traumatized, and it was one of the most incredible performances I've ever seen, where I felt very like, wow, I felt like Tom Hanks wasn't acting; he was that character. Tom Hanks, just one of those guys who kind of plays very likable actors. It seemed like he's always a good guy, hardly a villain, so likable as an actor. Again, just some of the great performances of and he's still giving great performances to this day. Again, another actor. Anytime he makes a movie, I'm there to watch it, to see what Tom Hanks does next. So anyway, that's my favorite actor, Tom Hanks, and that's my list of my top 10 favorite actors. And please feel free to comment what do you think about these 10 actors. Who's your favorite actor? Let me know. Besides that, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for liking it. Thank you to all my subscribers for supporting the channel. I appreciate you all and hope you have a good day.